check, good. So I'm Max Duran, CWB Association Welding podcast. Today we have a really cool guest, Welding podcast.
The show is about to begin.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the CWB Association podcast. This week we are doing a special Executive Directors of Skills episodes here in beautiful Regina, Saskatchewan for the National Skills Competitions. I am going to be interviewing Executive Directors of all the provinces and territories and getting down to what's going on in each province. Now in front of me right now I got Krystal Nieckar, who is the ED of my province, Saskatchewan. Our province. And I know I'm supposed to be completely non-picky, but I got my Sask shirt on, so hey, it is what it is. How's it going?
You're repping on my behalf today.
Mm-hmm. How you doing, Krystal?
Well, I'm doing good. How are you?
It's good. It's been a busy day. I'm sure it's been busy for you.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of steps, and this is my first national competition.
Yeah,
and so it's very cool to see it all laid out. Really,
I think you've had a lot of firsts.
Yeah.
So
I have.
So how long have you been ED here at Sask?
I'm coming up on almost 11 months.
11 months.
I'll be a year in July.
A year in July. So we're talking, when kids are under the age of 3 and you talk about them being like 28 months old.
I know.
You're still in baby time.
I'm 11 months old.
Yeah.
Yes.
What did you do before you came to work at Skills?
That's a good question. I started my career working with folks with disabilities, and just really, I'm an advocate by nature, and I love to be able to help people go where they want to go, right? I call myself a relationship builder, and so then I worked a lot in the human services field, and so a lot of high stakes, lives on the line kind of work, at risk youth. I did a group home. I ran a program through the federal government, working with guys coming from corrections, helping them get employment, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I love working with people, and so when this opportunity came across my screen, I was like, this is something I want to do.
So how did you find this opportunity? Just online, being looking for a job? Yeah.
Right before I came to Skills Canada, I was working with Saskatoon Trades and Skills.
Okay. Yeah.
They gave me a cool opportunity to help short-term intensive training to gain employment. That's the goal. So get people working, and I really love that philosophy.
Yeah, getting them up on their feet and rolling.
Yeah, exactly. Giving them an opportunity that maybe they wouldn't have had otherwise. And then just making those direct connections with employers, to be like, here's the work that this person has done. This is, I'm going to advocate on their behalf to be able to get into the workforce. So
this was like trial by fire then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you had a little bit of experience, but you weren't a trades person, right?
No, not at all. I mean, I grew up rural Saskatchewan on the farm, and you're a farm kid, so you're a jack of all trades and a master of none, right?
None, yeah. Maybe one.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe one. But, dig in, hard work, community, that's what it's all about, right? And so that is the feeling that I get from this work.
You came into Skills in Saskatchewan, where it was kind of a tumultuous period, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Skills Saskatchewan has been strong for a long time. We have a lot of competitors. We do well at the provincial stage. We do well at the national stage. We do well at the world stage. So you kind of came in, and there's a certain pedigree that's sort of expected, right?
For sure. Yeah. I came in and Skills Saskatchewan had gone through quite a few, the turnover in leadership. Yeah. And so when they brought me on, they said, well, first of all, we're looking for someone to stick around.
Stability. Yeah. We need some stability.
So I was like, I'm happy to do that. And I love a good challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So, jumping in and learning the role and hey, also you're going to run a national competition in a year from now, less than a year from now. So can you do it? And I was like, I'd love to. And the whole process of getting to this point has been great, and working with the national team is super lovely, and everybody is what I found is that the Skills family really is a family. people bring you
Mhm.
in and they're like, here's my phone number, call me, let's chat, let's talk about this, let's talk about these opportunities, let's see, maybe we can, this year I had a cool opportunity to work with Skills Yukon and do a crossover of a competition, bring their kids
Awesome.
into our competition because they didn't have a PTC or I guess a territorial technical committee
Yeah.
up in Yukon. So I was like, that's a cool opportunity that I wouldn't have had
For both
otherwise.
sides. For both
Yeah,
sides, really.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very cool.
Now, when you came in, how much staff did you have? What was the breadth of the organization? What was it
Yeah.
looking like?
I came in and there were 2 sort of temporary staff that were working there. We were fortunate enough to have a long-time Skills Canada employee join us on contract. And the first day I arrived, she's like, here's all of these documents. I wrote it all out for you.
Mhm.
And then let's chat. So right now, Skills Saskatchewan, we're 2 folks.
Yeah.
And we work hard every single day to bring our provincial competition to life, and then we work on annual programming in schools as much as we possibly can. And something exciting is we are working with RBC currently, and they have given us some funding to bring in a 3rd employee to do in-school programming.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
that's something that is, especially from the pandemic, we lost a lot of that. I guess that headway with schools because we weren't allowed to go in.
Right.
And while virtual programming is lovely, actually getting into the schools with the hands-on and chatting face-to-face with the kids is what it's all about. We're going to be able to do that again. So we're excited about that.
Well, one of the things that's come up with all the different EDs I've been interviewing is the funding models. How important partnerships are, how important funding is. I mean, Skills is federally funded. There is some stuff that comes down, but in order to be, I guess, competitive, in order to stay abreast of kind of the stronger provinces, you got to find your partners, right? How's that been like?
Good, actually. We like as I said earlier, I love to build relationships with people, and I think that's where partnerships start, is having a conversation, finding that common ground. How do we work together really well? And what does that look like for Saskatchewan? Where are the gaps, in employment? Where are the gaps in the services? Where are the gaps in education even? How do we work together to fill those? And what works for a partner's mandate and what works for us? And we've been really fortunate to have some really great long-term partners like you guys, for example. And then right now what we're really hoping to do is build our governmental support.
Right. Try to access that government funding that's out there. That's
the core funding, right?
Yeah.
And we have a little bit, but frankly, we could use more.
Yeah.
Obviously, just like every province and territory. But I think Saskatchewan we're a trades province.
We are.
Right?
We're very industrial. We're very resource rich. Yeah.
And so I think that needs to be reflected in the way that the funding comes through, and not only through, whether it's career training or whatever
Camps
transportation,
or whatever,
that might be. I think it's important also to recognize that while we're doing this work, it's not even just us. I always say that the teachers are the biggest champions of skills, right? Because if they're not
on board, but they got to know, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so, sharing that, getting into the schools to be able to find those champions in the schools to bring the kids, because they're spending the time, they're before school, after school, during school, right? The extra workload that they're doing on top of all the other things. So I think it's a combination of getting all the ministries together.
Well, good luck.
And to jump on board, right? It seems like a big undertaking, but it's something that I'd be
Small
happy
bites,
to do.
Yeah, small bites. Just
Yeah,
start.
a little bit at a time.
Yeah,
totally.
Now, how many competitors do we have here at
We have
Skills
52.
National? 52.
There's
okay.
52 of us, Saskatchewanians.
Saskatchewanians, I like, yeah.
Yeah, so we're competing.
And over how many different trades?
I want to say 40.
Okay.
I want to say 40.
Good.
Yeah, which is great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, historically, we're pretty strong in certain fields.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling about this year?
I'm feeling great, actually.
Yeah.
I'm feeling great. We have quite a few returning competitors this year, but we have a really good crop of a new crew. And they're eager. Some of them are a little bit shy.
Yeah, a little nervous.
Yeah.
or timid, maybe.
Yes, yeah. But I think that they'll be returning, and I can't wait to go to Toronto. Yeah. But also, how cool as a new comer to skills, a brand new competitor, and you're in Regina. You just roll out of bed in your own home, and you just roll into a competition.
That's one of the
love
things
it.
about being the host.
Yeah.
Is that I get to go to sleep in my bed every night. I'm always on the road, right?
Right.
I'm
Yeah, of
always
course.
on the road. And so, but the other side of that is you want to show off, you want to showcase, you want to make sure everyone here is having a wonderful time, right?
And I think that we've talked about this in the past before, but something that Saskatchewan does really well is hospitality.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We bring people in, make them feel comfortable, make them feel at home, and the what I've heard, the feedback is they're like, it's so welcoming. We've had such a good time. This is such a beautiful city. The weather is beautiful. And I was like, well, we ordered that specifically, obviously.
It is always beautiful in the summer in Saskatchewan, though. That's what it is.
Yeah, it really is. But I think it's also that feeling of, it's the feeling of community. So, people want to come here. They're excited to have us here. And they want us to come back. What I've heard is like, we'll take you in 3 years. Wouldn't that be great?
So are you going to get to go to Shanghai if everything goes
I think
well?
so.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna show up during those medal ceremonies in a strong way. And so I think we will have a good chunk of Team Canada will be from Saskatchewan. Yeah.
Good. That makes me happy. I'm trying to get there somehow.
Yeah.
Dear CWB, I need funding.
I think you'll do it. It'll be great.
I might be all right. Now, in terms of organizing, right? You came in fresh, a little bit of trades experience, hopefully like terminology's down, some of the words, and they're like, okay, well, first we got to get through provincials.
Yeah.
So, what was it like setting that up? With I would say at that time maybe only 5 or 6 months experience, like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small bites, not so much.
Yeah, there was no small bites for that. Somebody asked me that yesterday. What was it like now that you're on the other side? And honestly, Max, it was crazy.
It was, yeah.
It was crazy. I know.
I remember walking up to you when you were at the line there at registration, and you looked at me and your eyes had like no focus. Like your pupils weren't even working. I was like, okay, I'll come back later.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. We were so busy. We literally felt like chickens running around with their heads cut off.
Yeah.
But I remember every time I would just like stop for 2 minutes, I'd be like, man, I have just learned so much in a short amount of time, that my brain was exploding.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, if you can take it all in, then you've learned, right? Now, one of the things that I think we've done poorly in Saskatchewan, and I'm going to be critical because I'm from Saskatchewan, is that we haven't done great in successions, right? Like the one ED, I go back to Al Gabert days. So one ED comes, he goes, leaves nothing really for the next one. Yeah. Then the next one comes and goes, doesn't really. And that's got to stop because you see other provinces do much better job of making sure that the lessons you learn today are learned forever. Right. So that the planning can be seamless and going forward. Yeah, of course. Are you working on that sort of like stability within the company?
Yeah. One thing that I'm famous for is writing everything down. Yeah. I write everything down. Even if it's just like and like old school pen to paper because it's I go back to my notes from like, man, even 6 months ago. And I look through and just like the thoughts that I had, and I was like, oh yeah, that sparked an idea here. How can I relate it to this? But in terms of like building succession documents, we're working really hard on creating those documents, and even by month, like we were fortunate with Gail Vent, who's been a long time employee
Gail
for Skills.
Amazing.
Yeah, she totally is.
And she's here.
She is here, and she left this very detailed document. Here's what you should be doing in the first half of this month and in the second half of this month. And so we've taken that and expanded it to build it into, because we're not in, I guess, starvation mode. I don't know what the right word is right now. We're moving out of that, and it feels nice. And so what does stability look like for us? And we received a lot of really good feedback from our provincial
What
competition.
are the wins? What are the things we got to get better at? Yeah.
And so, and despite, our competition is at the end of March, and then we have a massive snowstorm.
Yeah.
Right. Which we can't help unless we move the competition.
That was wild.
It was,
It was so much snow.
Yeah. We had 300 competitors, and I think that we had 3 cancel.
Yeah.
So, that speaks to the commitment and the dedication of the people of Saskatchewan. They're coming to spend time or showcase their skills, the work that they've put in, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to miss out on that. And so just taking that feedback in real time in a healthy way. And I'm very open to receiving that feedback anytime people want to give it to me, because we can't get better if we don't do that, right?
And from the competitor's standpoint, the event ran. It ran. It start to finish. Medals came out.
Totally.
Right. Like it's not like it was stalled in any way, right?
No. And the nice thing is that while all of this is happening, and as a competitor or NTC or even us, right? You see things, they're moving, they're flowing. We don't hear about all the crazy that's happening behind the scenes, but that's happening.
It's still happening. Yeah.
It's happening. And so I think one thing that Kari, the other person in our office who's great, her and I are working together really well to be able to deal with those things in real time and move past them.
Yeah.
Right. And so while it looked great from the outside, but on the inside it was like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
This is happening. This is happening. This is happening. Yeah. And then now I've got to go over here and meet with these folks, and I have to do this over here with these folks. And yeah. So it was like the ship was.
Did I just unveil some PTSD there? as you hide under the table?
Yeah. It did feel a little bit like that. Yeah. But come medal ceremony, and you watch these you watch the kids get their their names announced, and they're like, it was unreal. It's something I've never experienced before, and it was very cool to be the person calling their names. Yeah, it was really cool.
Well, it's, they're it's very emotional for them.
Yeah.
Plus, they've been on this nervous high for hours. Like since 7 a.m, they've been running on just adrenaline and probably monster drinks because they're teenagers now. But you know what I mean? Like, Then at that moment, it's like a complete release, right?
Yeah, I did it. I was successful. Yeah.
And then there's no rest for the wicked.
Yeah, right back into training, right?
Right back into training. So then how's that process work? When you're the host province, like now you're like, okay, gold medal winners, now this is the plan.
Yeah. National is very Skills Canada, they're very timeline focused, which is great. These are their strong deadlines. This is what we need all this stuff in for. And so then we just collect all the information and get all that in. And so while the competitors don't feel the weight of that timeline that's impending, they get their stuff in as best as they can.
I'm sure they feel it in other ways. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's information gathering. That's what we do after our provincials are done. And then we order T-shirts and we order swag and to set up bus transportation and like how's everybody getting here. So it's a lot of logistical stuff. And then how do the hotel rooms work? And then can I room with this person? And I'm gonna stay with my mom. And I'm gonna right. It's a lot of like sorting that stuff out. But otherwise, the kids are excited to be here. The kids, the young adults, I suppose as well, because we have adults on our team as well.
Yeah.
Everybody's just excited to be able to get here. And so we sit down as a team and do like a virtual meeting, and here's all the things that you can expect.
Yeah, be ready.
This is what your day's going to look like. Here's your bus schedule. We send them out a full information package. And then half of them don't read it, but that's okay.
Yeah. So in Regina, since we're host, do the competitors get to stay in like the hotels, or are they all? Because I know generally for nationals and then for worlds, competitors don't mix with the public, right? You want to keep them all in one room. Or like close, right?
Right.
So did we do that here? Or like if you're from Regina, you get to go home every night?
Yeah, there are a few folks from Regina who are staying in a hotel. Yeah. But there were lots that were like, I'm just going to stay at home.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with the hotel and all that sort of stuff, which is fair. So we gave them the opportunity.
Yeah.
Because next year when we're in Toronto, everybody will just be in the hotel together.
That's right.
So,
That's right. Now, for yourself coming into this with a limited skills background, How was that learning curve? How did you get caught up with the expectations of knowing a little bit about every trade?
Yeah. Well, I did a lot of reading.
Yeah.
And then just spending time having conversations with our PTC, and yeah, remembering the skill associated with the skill number. And I still don't have it quite down. There's a few that get me every time. Then I'm like, wait, what is that one again? And it's usually like 39, and I can't remember what 39 is right now. It's
39. That's like a sprinkler fitting, isn't it? Something like that?
no, sprinkler fitting's 55.
Okay.
Yeah, and if I didn't know that, the UA might get very mad at me, but I do know it. 39 is like architectural design, maybe.
You're asking the wrong guy.
I don't
I know
know.
welding.
I don't know. Don't hold it against me, skill 39. Yeah, I did a lot of reading, right?
Yeah.
As one of my in this role that I'm in, one of my biggest fears is looking stupid.
Yeah.
And I don't like to feel that way or feeling stupid.
Mhm.
So I do a lot of reading. Yeah.
Try to at least know enough to be dangerous.
I'll watch some videos, try figure it out.
YouTube,
Exactly. The internet is a vast place of mostly wonderful information.
I give it 50-50, but there's good stuff in there.
Yeah.
Now,
I do my research, right? Yeah.
when we talk about skills, there's always the concept of the essential skills.
Mhm.
Skills for Change is
Yeah.
a part of the Essential Skills Network. What skills have you been taught working for skills?
Oh. That's a really good question, Max. I think integrity is one of the biggest ones for me. Is making sure that I am intentionally, am I doing this for me? Am I doing this for my partners? Like, who am I doing this for?
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, it all has to come back to the competitors.
Yeah.
You know, the reason that we're here is for the kids, right?
Yeah.
And ensuring that the focus is on that, and is it the best for them?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I still have to work with my organization and make sure that we're doing what's best for the organization, but the intention is for the kids.
For the kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is that something that, you want to model now, like in terms of your leadership?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think, being as honest as possible about most things. And when I think about integrity, it's not just, approaching everything.
Doing the right thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Not just doing the right thing, but it's like,
being accountable.
yeah, making sure that we follow through and we do what we say are going to do.
Yeah.
And so if I'm building a relationship with you and you ask me for this thing, and even if it is as simple as remembering to send you an email back,
Yeah.
like that's it, right? Or is it making connections with people to, I'm gonna connect you with a school in northern Saskatchewan that would be a really good fit for you,
Yeah.
right? Like that. Those are the things that are important. And so making sure that I'm gonna do what I said I'm gonna do at the end of the day. Yeah.
What about the outreach into the more rural communities?
Mhm.
That's always been an issue in Saskatchewan because we
sure.
are a big province
with
with a small population,
Right.
right? So
yeah.
how do you get that reach into areas that A, probably don't have the programs, and then B, may not even know about skills at all?
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's being intentional about it. Right.
Yeah.
And so my focus coming in was to sort of, right that ship, so to speak, and gain that stability. And then with that, it allows me to step forward to be able to do that stuff. And so Northern outreach is really important to me, and making sure that, we have a very high population of Indigenous people in this province,
Yeah.
and ensuring that, they know about skills and that they have an opportunity to maybe, whether we do a trade and deck day or even just be able to do some school programming. And what does that
Be
programming
involved
look
somehow.
like?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And so is that programming, accommodating maybe some of the programs that they're doing up north, and then also with rural is being intentional about that. So one thing that Skills does is we do trade and tech days throughout the year. Usually try to do like 5 or 6, and lots of times we've gone to larger schools because we get that we get the numbers.
Yeah,
right?
it's an easy
You know,
KPI.
yeah, right. We have the numbers that we need to meet each year, and and how do we do that? But you know, being able then to talk to our funders and say, right, we may not have reached 10,000 kids, but I reached 5,000 in a
Yeah.
really good way.
And that's over 15 schools as opposed to 8.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. And so, you know, making sure that I'm intentional, and when I'm doing my trade and tech days, I'm going to Yorkton, Saskatchewan. I'm going to, you know, like the Four Corners, basically.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna,
you
you
got
know,
Swift Currents
go to
and
Laloche, right?
Yorktons.
Yeah, exactly. Making sure that I'm not just, you know, going to PA and calling that north.
Look at the map. You're not even
Yeah,
halfway there.
I know. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think being very intentional about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're in the middle of building a new strategic plan, and that will be part of it.
Well, I know that we've supported lots of camps. We're in
Mhm.
partnerships with you guys.
Yeah.
And that's also one of our focuses coming up is, you know, how do we get into the north
Yeah.
and trying to figure that out, because it's you know, I think the technology is starting to make it a little bit easier. Like, you know, the thoughts are like, do we send a bunch of simulators up north and have like a week of welding via simulator? Or
For sure.
and I think the ideas are there, and it's just a matter of getting the right partners lined up,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. And funding.
Yeah,
Really?
funding.
It's, yeah,
I find that we can get money,
that's true.
right? Like if you got a good plan and you're authentic about it,
Mhm.
and maybe just I'm real stubborn, but when I want to get something off the ground, there's a
Gonna do
way.
it.
There's a way,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah. I do feel that about you, Max.
yeah,
for
and
sure.
even the idea, like I brought this to the CWB, is that before it was all just chasing the 3 biggest welding companies for money, and if they just said no, well, that's it, go home and hang your head, you failed. And for me, it was like, no, I want to chase the next layer of industry,
Yeah.
and if they say no, then I'm going after the next layer of industry, and I don't care if I end up at Uncle Bob's Welding, you know,
Yeah.
and they flip me $50.
Right.
It'll help. It'll
But,
help, right?
You know, those mom and pop welding shops. Oh, that really went. They they're established in that community, and they have those relationships,
Yeah.
and
and
that-
they need staff
that
too.
Bob's Welding knows Jack's Welding and knows Steve's
Mhm.
Welding, right? Like all of those connections are there, and then
And
boom,
Bob
you're
and
into
Jack are sitting over coffee complaining that they can't find any good welders.
exactly. And
Right.
so that's how those connections are made, and that's what I really love about this role is being
Yeah.
able to make those connections.
Are you a part of rural Saskatchewan in any way? Like
I grew
yeah,
up in rural
yeah,
Saskatchewan.
okay, we're about
Yeah, I grew up in a little town called Rama.
Rama. Where's
Yeah,
Rama? Is it by Rama Dama Ding Long Ding Dong? What's that song?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I always say, you know, your grandma's from Rama. Everybody knows your grandma from Rama. Yeah, it's about 2.5 hours east of Saskatoon on Highway
Okay.
5.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's right in between Kenora and Wadena.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
I know where
sure.
that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I grew up on a farm, and my dad did his own, you know, cowboy welding on the farm whenever
Yeah.
he needed
60,
to. So
13, slam it in. Let's go.
yeah, totally. He'll be so proud when I tell him that. Yeah, so rural Saskatchewan is in my blood.
So you understand
Yeah.
those dynamics. Now,
Yeah.
what about the cities? Because I hate to say it, but Regina and Saskatoon, we've basically decimated our trades programs in high schools. They're a tenth of what they were 15 years ago. Most of the high schools don't have any major trades or construction programs anymore.
Yeah.
How do you pitch skills to a school that doesn't even have access to it anymore?
I know. Yeah, that is hard, and it's definitely something that's been a challenge. And for them, it is a funding related, right? Because you know the way that the teachers are working these days.
Yeah, they're
we're
not going to make a
pulling-
program out of the air.
No,
right? Yeah.
they're not. But I find that if they can, they will. Right?
Yeah.
They're those
They
kinds
have
of
the
folks. If it's
passion,
in their
yeah.
blood, they're gonna do it. And I think slowly the push is coming for that funding because of the gap in services that's coming very soon. Right?
Mhm.
Um,
Not very soon. Happening right now.
right. Yes, of
Yeah.
course, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
of
I was
course.
just at a meeting in Toronto at the CAF conference, and they were talking about one of the statistics they brought up was we've been talking about this impending
Right.
shortcoming of
Yeah.
workers. We're past impending.
Right. We need to change the
Right.
vocabulary on that for
Because
sure.
from 2025 to 2024, retirees across Canada doubled. So it's
Wow.
already starting.
Right.
Like the big drop off that we've
Mhm.
all been like, ooh, the big drop off's coming.
It's here.
It's here.
Yeah.
So like we've been trying to figure out how to solve this. Well, get on your horse, buddy. It's right now. Like
Yeah. So I sat in a meeting with the folks from SIMSA, and there was I want to say he was like, I don't want to call anybody out, but I'm gonna, because it's your role when you're in government. It was the deputy minister of education, and one of the teachers in the crowd said the first thing that always gets cut is PAA funding, and I'm not even a teacher, and I know that,
Yeah.
but he wasn't aware of that, and I was like,
It's pretty obvious, bro. Like,
yeah, and so I was, it's a shocking
yeah.
that he didn't know that, and so I was like, okay, so. Where do we
Where do we
start,
go from here?
right?
Yeah.
And in the room with SIMSA, what they're trying to do is like build the support for the education system from the people who have the money right now, and that's industry,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think it's a smart model, bringing that in, to be able to. We need to hire you.
At least reinforce what we have.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the folks with the money, they're going to sway the government, and so yeah, it's a smart model. But in terms of the schools, it's it's talking to the principals and getting them to buy in. And even if they don't have the programs, maybe it's bringing kids to. So I think in Saskatoon, there's 3 or 4 core schools that have good
tech programs,
construction programs.
Yeah.
So whether it's welding, automotive, an HCAP class, bringing the kids in for that, and advocating for that from a skills, with the weight of skills behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know in Saskatchewan they went with or in Regina they went with a core school, like a hub school they called it.
Right.
Where they canceled all the trades programs and just made one school, like the trade school. And I just don't see how that's better than having the trades program be right down the hallway. You got to get on a bus once a week to take, and that's not attractive to anybody. Like nobody.
No.
And I don't know why you would expect kids to be on board for that. And on the back end, I hear, well, we don't have enough tradespeople. We don't have enough tradespeople. Well, we need them to have them somewhere for them to train, right? The colleges, I think, are established.
Yeah.
But, we need
their numbers are down.
But their numbers are way down.
Mm-hmm. And then if you look at the international student factor, it's even more.
Yeah.
And so then they lose all of that funding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tough pickle.
It's a cluster. Cluster doodle. A cluster doodle.
And we don't want to get into too much of politics and the cluster doodles of politics.
Yeah.
But the reality is that we need to find ways for young people or people looking to transition into the trades, start the trades, stay in the trades,
right,
and fill those roles right from the bottom to the top, including management.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you're going to do that is by events like this, organizations like yours, where you're trying your best to make it sexy, glamorize it, make it fun, and give the information out of the options available. I mean, I brought my parents here today. My dad's been in the trades his whole life. My mom used to work in manufacturing, and they walked through the floor, and they're like, "Is this all a competition?" I'm like, "Yeah, all of it." And they're like, "All?" I'm like, "Yeah, all."
Yeah.
They have no idea.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, and that, I don't think the general population knows about this.
Yeah. But I think that the trades are very cool in the way that you could start out as an electrician or a welder or working on a heavy vehicle, and you start out as a technician, you start out as like an apprentice, and you work your way up, and then the doors that opens, right? Look at yourself, right?
Yeah,
and now you're a famous podcaster.
Thank you to all 14 of my listeners. I very much appreciate you.
I think that it's incredible that the doors that it opens, the opportunities that are available to you. I think of the folks, the partners that we work with, and they're like, you know what? When I was 18, I got into this trade, and look at me now. I'm the director of training of the UA. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it
can even open opportunities that are adjacent that you don't realize. Like, for example, for me, once I got my red seals and I started, making some good money, I was able to go back to school and take night classes because I could afford it, and it wasn't a big stress anymore. Yeah. And I'm not trying to take 5 classes a semester and hammer out some magical thing.
Right.
I was just like, ooh, this class looks super interesting this semester.
Yeah.
And so I would take a class. Well, you do that every semester in 7 years, you have a second degree.
Yeah.
Like it just, and at no real expense, right? Because the trades give you that luxury, the time, and the
Yeah.
money, right?
I was having a conversation with someone this morning about like how do we make trades interesting to young people, so that they go directly into them. And there's that conversation about like, I'm a Gen Z, I'll never be able to afford a house. Go into a trade,
Yeah.
house in 5 years.
Problem solved. What you talking about?
And I was like, that's how we sell it. That's how we should sell
Yeah.
it to the young people. House in 5 years.
Come on, steal that. We're gonna do it. We're gonna make memes all week.
Yeah, I love it. I was like, that's so smart. Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
2 questions to wrap it up.
Okay.
2 questions to wrap it up. So for yourself with skills.
Yeah.
What are you hoping, your group does here? How many world competitors are we gonna get out of here?
Geez.
What do we? Because you got what do you say? 52 competitors.
Yeah.
And I know I got my bets down on a few.
Yeah.
And we do represent very well generally.
Yeah, we do.
But we got a couple recurrings.
Yep.
Right. So who do you think's in it for a world?
Oh, you want me to name names?
Or even just trades?
Okay. I think our welders are going to do well. I think.
We've gone to worlds a number of times in
Yeah,
Saskatchewan.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think mechanical CAD is going to do really well.
Good.
I think graphic design is going to
Graphic
do
design,
really
we've
well.
gone to worlds a
Yeah,
few times.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think. I'm just trying to put the spaces in
Mhm.
where they're located. I think that we're going to medal in a fair number of competitions. I don't know that we'll go to worlds in all of them, but I think I want to say 5.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 5.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
Yeah, I think we got 3 in the bag for sure. But
Good. Good.
hopefully the judges hear that
I'll
too.
make my pro line bets tonight.
Oh, can you imagine if you could pro line bet on a?
I
on
don't
a
see why
skills
not. That would be
competition?
wild.
There you go. Maybe that's your next endeavor.
I feel like that's highly immoral, but that's fine. Sorry, killing me with the laughter here. Last question.
Okay.
So, because this is a short, quick, fast route you're on right now.
Yeah.
If you have a young competitor in front of you, getting disheartened, things are rough, how are you going to inspire them to crush it and keep going?
Sure. I like having honest. I'm not a small talker. I do not like it. It's not something I enjoy. And so I like getting deep and heavy with people fast.
Quick, yeah.
And so I think it's an easy way to like cut through all of the. And so, if kids or young people, let's say we have a secondary competitor who's having a hard time, just sitting down and be like, what is your goal? What did you want to accomplish when you got here in the first place?
Yeah.
Was it to attend? Was it to just like maybe overcome some anxiety? Did you want to win the competition? How do we get back to that goal? And maybe it's deep breathing and maybe it's like a hard conversation. But I think it's coming back to that authentic reason why you joined in the first place.
Yeah.
And is it because your dad was a welder or your cousin is a carpenter? Is it like, what is the reason? And let's go back to that and focus on why you're genuinely here. And I think that authenticity of like, at the base of it is joy of doing something that you love. That comes through.
Yeah.
And it'll come through in your work. It'll come through in your skill. It'll come through in your potential medaling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so pumped for Saturday morning.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I can't wait to see. I want to go check on the welders again this afternoon.
Yeah.
I was looking at all the welds today, and I was like, oh, I don't even. I started like my judge. I've judged before, so put my judge's hat
your
on.
Judge's
it's like,
hat.
But then I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't take yourself
Don't
out.
be critical. Yeah.
That's hard to do.
Yeah, I know it is hard. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so
This
much,
was fun.
Krystal, for being on
Thank
the show.
you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. This was great.
Awesome. And for all the people that have been following along with the podcast, make sure you check out the entire skills series for 2025 here in Regina, Saskatchewan, and also all our podcasts. Keep downloading, sharing, and commenting. We appreciate it and love you. Thanks. Catch you at the next episode.
We hope you enjoyed the show.